Okay, welcome to the first and maybe the only ever painting tutorial on the Drop Pod YouTube channel. I'm gonna show you guys how to do Deathwing armor. I can already hear you guys saying, "But Garrett, that's not a Deathwing model." Bitch, I know that. I know it's not Deathwing color either. It's my homebrew chapter. We're mostly concerned with obviously the armor. I'm gonna show you how to do it Grimdark really fast. No airbrush required. You're gonna see me use one real quick here as I prime. Nevertheless, one thing to note is that if you don't have an airbrush, I would recommend priming with whatever color you're going to use for the off-white armor. If you're going to use spray paint, I'd use like Wraithbone from Citadel, even though it is like criminally expensive, or the more affordable, I think it's Skeleton Bone or something like that from Army Painter, mainly because you can buy the same paints in a pot or a dropper bottle. If you ever make a mistake base coating something else, you can just go back, clean it up real quick, and no one will ever notice the difference. So I'm going to prime it up real quick, and I will get right back to you. Okay, this is what I use for my armor color. He's all primed. I use Dark Ivory by from the Pro Acryl line from Monument Hobbies, and then I use Ivory as a highlight, and then I have Bright Ivory as well off to the side. But I'm just going to load the Dark Ivory in my airbrush here. Got it all loaded up, and we're just going to hit this thing from every and any angle. Keep in mind that the color you prime with, if you are doing a traditional black prime, really makes a difference here. The black really tones down and darkens the and almost desaturates this Dark Ivory from Pro Acryl. I've tried on some other models doing a lighter gray, and I think I enjoyed the lighter gray more than the black did. So take your pick there. You can do a Zenithal. I did find that the Zenithal ultimately really washed out the Dark Ivory, made it basically white on the very top, which is not what we're going for. So you can see here, it's all sprayed up, it's all done, and I'm going to start base coating. My go-to metal base coat is my own homebrew thing with these two colors right here. Model Metallic Air Silver and Model Color Black. I do 2 parts silver to 1 part black for a super opaque sort of gunmetal, just raw silver color that one coats over everything and anything. I know if I was using lead belcher here, I'd have to do 2 coats because I would be able to see the Dark Ivory under there. So that's the next step. Base coat everything. Okay, everything has been base coated. I did a little bit of Seraphim Sepia on the purity seals there. I'm not sure I'm a fan of it, and I did forget to actually put some writing on there. I use Rhinoxide for that. I got silver on all my trim, all the other things. I feel like silver comes off as a pretty grimdark color, and gold, I can't get gold that same effect. Next step is, you saw it coming, taking everyone's favorite enamel wash here, Streak and Grime, and we are going to clobber this thing with Streak and Grime. He's going to be a little brown boy. I might get canceled for that after this, but you want to have some mineral spirits on hand. This is not actually from Gamblin. I bought that, but it was way overpriced. Now I have the handy little bottle there, and I just replace it with mineral spirits that I get from the local hardware store or building supply store, wherever. You can even find them at Walmart. I've even used paint thinner too that we had lying around when I ran out. Worked just fine. So take your Streak and Grime, and you can use it. I actually prefer to use an airbrush here, but just to show you that the brush works, and it's almost kind of a pain in the ass to bust out the airbrush for one model. We're just going to brush it on everywhere. Get it all over everything. Okay, he's done. He's looking properly grimy. He has been cum blasted by Streak and Grime and AK Interactive. And I'm going to go over some of the things I like to use to get rid of this stuff. This is called a reductive wash. The first is the brush. Use a shitty one all the time. These are makeup sponges. Super handy. Yep, that one's pretty dirty. Also Q-tips. You probably have these lying around. You don't need to go out and buy anything special. I stopped using these mostly because they like to leave little hairs everywhere that become very annoying. You gotta go back through and pick them all off with like little tweezers. And my preferred tool now is this makeup applicator. That is the key phrase you have to use to find these. Makeup applicator, I believe. Took me a while to figure that one out. I think I got this box of like 120 for like $10 on Amazon. Pretty cheap and well worth it. It's going to last me basically forever. So what I'm going to do now is let him dry for 10 to 20 minutes. You don't want him to be looking glossy. Let that enamel wash get in there and start to stain the colors under it. And I'll show you what to do once he's dry. Okay, I've waited about 20 minutes or so, and you can see our guy here is looking noticeably drier. I'm going to take one of my makeup applicators now, and I'm going to basically drench this thing in mineral spirits, and I'm going to start dabbing. Not too much wiping, a lot of dabbing action. And it's going to take a little bit longer, but the more mineral spirits you use and the more dabbing you do, it's going to aggravate the enamels, all the pigments in the enamels, and they're going to start to sort of flood all the recesses and pull away from the high spots. You can see it already doing it there on the helmet. And if you wipe, guys, never forget to wipe. But if you wipe with the makeup applicator, it'll just immediately remove almost all of the stuff. And that's not what we're going for here. We want to leave some sort of tint, some sort of grime left on the miniature, and hopefully pushing that stuff around into all the little cracks and crevices and all the places where it would naturally get stuck when someone is slogging through the enemies of man for weeks or months at a time. So I'll give you an update when I get them all finished. Okay, when I get to some of the more hard to reach places like behind the helmet here, or when the pigment, I just can't get the desired result with the makeup applicator, I'm going to switch to my most utilitarian brush here. This is just a gold tack-on brush from Walmart. You can get like 10 of them for like $4. And I'm going to soak this thing in mineral spirits, and you can start to push around and really play with where you want these enamels to go and where you want them to end up. So that's what I'm doing here. And nearing the end, I need to work on the legs a little bit more, but we're getting there. All right, our Deathwing Blade Guard Veteran is almost dry here. Good enough to put paint on. It was a rainy, dreary day here, so I literally stuck him in front of a fan for a few hours. If you don't have that, you can use a hairdryer to speed up the drying process, or you can, what I'd usually do is stick them outside on a nice warm sunny day and you dry up in no time at all. So you could definitely stop here if you wanted to. There's no shame in it, and I wish my camera would do better justice. So take a look at the pictures at the beginning or the end of the video. They'll show you what this whole squad turned out looking like. I'm going to show you a few more things you can do to really make them pop. Maybe do just the first part for your line infantry, and then maybe go the extra mile here with some brighter colors. Really up the contrast. I'm going to show you how I do that. Coming right up. All right, I have taken a little piece of my makeup sponge here and some tweezers, and I have dipped it in some of my original base coat color, the dark ivory, and I'm going back over, just lightly touching the raised areas of the model here, applying some contrast, and we're ultimately achieving two things with this. This is, one, giving us a very mottled look because of the randomness of the sponge. We're getting texture and contrast. We're upping the contrast with the brighter color, the return to the base coat. Sorry, I'm just completely out of frame here. And the texture, because everything is so mottled. You can see we're starting to bring back some color there. Because I will say, acrylics, when they go on, especially the lighter colors, they go on much lighter than they dry. They tend to dry down, as they say. So it'll look very stark and almost too bright maybe when you first start doing it. But do not fear. It will dry down. All right, here I am. I had to make my sponge a little bit smaller to hit some of the harder to reach areas. But you can go pretty fast with this, especially if you're just trying to get minis on the table extremely fast. Keep in mind always that you're looking at this thing right now closer than anyone is ever going to look at it unless you're painting for competition, in which case don't be watching my tutorials because I am wholly unqualified to tell you how to competition paint. So just keep in mind, the little 3-foot rule. These guys look great, especially the Grimdark. You can just do the Shrinking Grime, and from 3 feet away, they look awesome. So I'm going to go through, finish this up here, and I'm going to come back to you. Sure, I might show you one more method. Okay, so I guess I forgot to get it on camera, but basically you can do with a brush what you're doing with the sponge right now. Just use a brush for all the harder to reach places, like behind the shield there, or like around the edge of the shield where the white is. You're just gonna stipple that those colors right back on there, and you can go around like I did for this squad to all the other colors. Go back to the original base color and stipple it back on there and a selective highlight, and maybe go one color brighter, or go even brighter back to white if you want, with a very selective highlight. So I did that for all members of this squad here. for everything all the colors on them. All right, here they are. Here are the first company Blade Guard veterans of the Sons of Solaria, my homebrew chapter. Easily proxied as the Deathwing because I have jumped on the Dark Angels bandwagon. I'm sure like many others have. Guys, I know I didn't show you the whole thing, but it was mostly I wanted to cover how to do the Grimdark like bone weight armor with enamel washes and the reduction method that is that, and the stippling, the adding of contrast and texture through the brush and the sponge. So I did that with all the colors here, and this is how they ended up turning out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see anything else. Yeah, I'd be flattered if you did, honestly. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't checked us out on whatever podcast app you listen to us, this is not usually our wheelhouse. Me and my buddy usually just talk about lore. You can find us on there wherever you listen to podcasts. We really appreciate it. If you want to see more like this, you can subscribe or comment or share with a friend or whatever you do. Give it a like. Give us any interaction you want. Give it a dislike. I don't care. Anything's appreciated. Yeah, thanks.